Hey everybody, it's Ralph here, day 5 of my vlog. I woke up in a crappy mood today. I just, I got up and it was like, really? It's just one of those days, I guess. Everybody has them. I'm only human. But anyway, today I kind of wanted to talk to everybody about being a union actor in a primarily non-union market and how frustrating that can be. First of all, I joined the union in June 1st of 2015 is when I joined SAG-AFTRA. I got my SAG-AFTRA eligibility when I worked in the pilot episode of Man in the High Castle when they filmed here in Seattle. I was working as an extra on that, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and the first assistant director comes out to the crowd of extras, and he says, "Hey, anybody here know how to speak German?" Well, I was stationed in Germany for 3 years when I was in the Army, and I don't speak it very often anymore, so I've lost a lot of that skill, and it's actually a skill I'd really like to start working on again. But I knew enough, and I in looking at it, or if somebody tells me, "Hey, say this," I can get it pretty quickly. So the first assistant director called me and another guy over because we were the ones who said, "Yeah, we know how to speak it," and he gave us a line, and he had us going back and forth and saying the line, and he says to me, "Hey, can you pull this other guy aside for a few minutes and teach him how to say it as well as you can?" And it was one of those things like, are you freaking kidding me? But I was like, yeah, I'm a team player. I'll do that. So I pull him aside and we worked on it. And then the AD called us back over and had us say it again. And he couldn't make his mind up. So he took us to the director of the episode. I think it was David Semmel. And has us go back and forth and say it for David Semmel a couple of times. And David Semmel points at me and says, "Mic him up. We're using him." So that instantly put me in the category of being SAG-AFTRA eligible because I was bumped up to a speaking role in that production. And then later on, I worked on another production that was a union production. And so that made me what was called a must join. Once you work that second union production, then you're required to join the union within a certain time frame. So I went ahead and joined. One of the biggest frustrations about being a union actor in a market like Seattle is that there are not a lot of union productions that are made here. But non-union productions, if they do some paperwork through the union, can become what's called a signatory. Now, signatory means that it is now covered under a union contract. Union actors can be a part of it. And they get a level of legitimacy by being a union production that non-union productions don't typically have, or so it's said. I don't really know how true that is because I've seen a lot of non-union productions that go and do well at festivals and get a lot of word of mouth, and people know about them and they're talked about. Even more so than some signatory productions that I've been a part of. One of the downsides, I guess, for me is that as a union actor, I'm not allowed to work on a non-union project. So I think I've kind of gotten a bit of a bad reputation around the Seattle market because when I see those non-union productions putting out their casting calls, I usually ask the question right away, "Hey, would you consider making this a SAG-AFTRA signatory production so that union actors can be a part?" I mean, primarily myself. And I either get no response or I get a, "Well, no, we're not going to go that route." Okay, that's fine. I mean, I know it costs a little bit of money and it's a pain in the butt to do paperwork to make it a signatory. But it becomes very frustrating for me because when I was non-union, I was doing an average of 10 projects per year of various kinds. And since joining the union, my average has been like 2 per year. So it's really hard to go from being busy a lot to like not at all. I guess the upside to that is the quality of the projects I've done has gone up, uh, because working non-union, I'd be lucky to get footage. I mean, not like I said in yesterday's vlog, I've been in over 70 projects, and I think out of all of those 70, I think I've only seen my performance in maybe 30 to 35 of those. That's how many that I've actually gotten footage from. The other half, I've never seen even one shred of the footage. So I guess that's one of the benefits to being union is, they're required to provide you with that footage, um, except for the mainstream. It's real difficult to get your footage from mainstream stuff. They don't, they want to know like exactly which scene number, which takes, and then they have to go back and look for it, and half the time you won't get the footage for that. Um, but anyway, it's frustrating for me, um, because the amount of work really isn't there. People don't really want to do the necessary steps to make their non-union into a SAG-AFTRA signatory production. I don't know if it's laziness or I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it's one of the frustrating things. Um, and who knows? I mean, I may or may not have a bad reputation. To me, it feels like I do because I'm constantly asking that question. And it seems sometimes that people I've worked with in the past that I thought I had a good rapport with, uh, they'll start working on their next project, and I ask the question, and then all of a sudden, boop, they're gone, and I don't really hear from them anymore. So to me, it looks like okay. Well, I don't know. I was raised kind of old school. It never hurts to ask, and if people get a bad attitude towards you because you asked a question, that was legitimate, then that's on them. So that's one of my frustrations that I have. Also the other thing is a lot of times union productions that film outside of this area, they want you to work as a local, which means that you have to essentially say, yeah, I'm a resident of Portland, or yeah, I'm a resident of such and such California, or wherever it's filming, and they get away with not having to cover your travel costs, because as a union actor, one of the upsides to it is when you go and you work on a production that is away from home, they are technically supposed to cover your travel costs and then pay for your lodging wherever you're at. And if you say, yeah, I'm going to work as a local to that area, then they get away with not having to pay all that. It's frustrating, but with the little amount of union work that comes through town here, you do what you got to do to keep working. It seems like a lot of the union work that, at least from what I've personally experienced, a lot of the union work in the Seattle market seems to be background extra for car commercials, which I've done. It's money. I'm not complaining about it. But I would really like to be more the principal character. And I can't understand why I can't seem to make that happen. I don't understand. So I'm pretty frustrated. I've thought several times about walking away from the union. I'm still kind of up in the air about that. I probably won't, though. There's other benefits to being a union actor. I'm just frustrated today. I'm just not in the mood today. You know what I mean? So that's all I got for you today. Sorry it wasn't more, but I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Be safe out there, people.